Now the Michael Myers fanatic is going to get right to the point. Everybody knows the story of Friday the 13th, 1980. We all know the story. There's no point in the Michael Myers fanatic telling you kill by kill by kill because we all know who it is. We all know who did the murders. Basically, this piece of crap opens up with a bunch of random people sitting around singing campfire songs. And suddenly, we are looking at the POV of the killer. And these two jabronis are doing the boom boom, the matchless mambo. You know, they're having sex. And basically, the boy looks up at the killer and says, "Oh, we weren't doing anything." Well, the Michael Myers fanatic ain't exactly a scientist or a genius, but it looks like you were doing something to him. And let him tell you something, you weren't playing Monopoly, you were having sex. Basically, the killer does away with him. And it's basically like that throughout the whole movie, and the Michael Myers fanatic is going to get straight to the point. This whole entire movie, matter of fact, this whole entire franchise is basically about a mother who is butthurt because her retarded son drowned in a lake. So she's butthurt, you know, and the Michael Myers fanatic is trying his best. Mrs. Voorhees, he's trying his best to sympathize, empathize with you. But in their defense, even though they were incompetent idiots, they were probably half retarded, and that's okay. But listen, in their defense, why would you expect kids to take care of a kid? They were kids themselves. So the Michael Myers fanatic wants to know, why would you expect a kid to take care of a kid? A 17-year-old is essentially a kid. Not exactly, but you know, they're sort of in the middle. Because they're not exactly grown, but they're not exactly a kid. Can you understand what the Michael Myers fanatic is telling you right now? They themselves were kids, and you expected them to take care of your mentally handicapped son. Hey, look, that's all cool. But you can't expect a kid to take care of a kid. It's like the blind leading the blind. Jason was mentally handicapped, and the Michael Myers fanatic is not prejudiced against the handicapped. But here's some advice for you. What you should have done is you should have gotten an adult to take care of your mentally handicapped son, not a 17-year-old girl. Quite naturally, her hormones are all over the place, and she wasn't going to be thinking about a little kid. So that was your fault. You were at the camp, you were the cook. So the Michael Myers fanatic simply says, you should have traded in the spatula and put back on your little umbilical cord. Reattach it to yourself because you were, you know, abnormally attached to Jason anyway. So basically you're butthurt and you're going out and you're killing people because your son died. That's a horrible thing. But as an old famous rap song used to say, that's just the way it is. You're walking around butchering people, and we got that old pathetic sound, kick, 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 ma, 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 and you know, people are dying left and right. You're hitting people in the head with axes. You're stabbing people. You're cutting their throat. All that crazy stuff. You know, I'm sitting here looking at this movie, and like I said, you're upset because of your son. I sympathize and empathize, but it doesn't change my opinion that you shouldn't have gotten a little kid, a teenager, a little kid. This these people were teenagers. I don't understand why you would expect them to take care of your son. That's what I don't get about this movie. And now you're mad. You're walking around here. Did you know that a young boy drowned? That's what you said. A young boy drowned. His name was Jason, and he was my son. Lady, I'm just going to be honest with you. I really don't think anybody cares. Because if they cared about your son, he would still be alive, wouldn't he? But he's not, so obviously they didn't care. Why would you entrust your son to kids? I can't get past that. No parent gives their child to a teenager. It's redundant because the teenager is a child themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's not much I can say. Basically, you're angry, butthurt as they say today, and you're going around butchering people. And what I don't understand is if you're trying to make us believe that Mrs. Voorhees was the killer all along, how could the killer be this old? So just so the Michael Myers fanatic can process this, the killer is you, Mrs. Voorhees, Betsy Palmer. Aren't you like 80 years old? How are you the killer? How? You're old. How are you able to chase people? I don't get that. That's why the killer should have been a man. But you know, and then you got all these people feeling sorry. Oh, Mrs. Voorhees, she was the perfect mother because she would kill for her son. She would die for her son and she would kill for her son. And then they're saying all kinds of stupid things like most moms bake apple pies, but this mom is willing to kill for her son. That's the perfect mother? Hollywood really is crazy. To make a long story short, the girl Alice, played by Adrienne King, the lone survivor, she survives Mrs. Voorhees' wrath and she chops her head off, Miss Voorhees' head. And allegedly, Jason saw this happen. And this caused him to come back in the sequel. I just want to point out, Jason drowned in 1957. That's funny. 1957. Isn't that the year that Michael Myers was born? That just goes to show you that Jason was a loser. Even fate thinks he's a loser. He drowned the year Michael was born. See, that proves it right there. I think honestly, maybe, hey, look, maybe the devil killed Jason because he realized Jason was a loser. So he wanted to make way for somebody better. Look, the point is this. If Jason really did drown, and then he so happened to see that, you know, someone killed his mother, where was he living all these years? They claim he was staying in the woods. Well, where was he? And why didn't he go back to see his mother? Was he too ashamed? It doesn't make any sense. No sense at all. And here's another thing I want to point out. This girl is telling this guy, she's telling him, she's sitting out there crying like a little jabroni. She's like, oh, I had a horrible dream. And the guy's like, what's the dream about? And then she says, I dreamt that it was raining and the little raindrops falling from the sky. And the drops of rain turned into drops of blood. Really? Really? That's what we're dreaming about? Rain turning into blood? Is that the kind of dream we have in the hood now? So you're telling me that this girl has the power of foresight? You see, this is the thing. I don't like cheesy movies. By telling us that she dreamt about raindrops turning into blood, you're essentially saying this is what's to come. You're setting up the movie. I don't want you to set up the movie for me. I have a brain. I'm able to think on my own. You don't have to set up the movie for me. I can figure it out. That's the problem. The kids today are soft. They have to have everything explained to them. Why did this happen? Why did that happen? It's even worse than it was back in 1980. But to get back to the point, Alice chops, not Jason, but chops Mrs. Voorhees' heads off. The head is chopped clean off. And then suddenly, she's sitting in a boat listening, well, not listening, but the music is playing. It's playing this beautiful music score, and I just love the music when I'm hearing it. It's just so beautiful. And suddenly, Jason jumps up out of the river, out of the lake, or whatever you want to call it, and he grabs her. Come to find out, it's all a dream. And then she says, "Did you see the boy?" And they say, "What boy?" She says, "The boy, Jason." And they say, "Ma'am, we didn't find any boy." And then she says, "Well, then he's still there." And just like that, the movie's over. What do you think? How do you like that? A mentally handicapped boy goes to camp, drowns, the mother gets angry, and goes around and she kills all the counselors. And here's the kicker. They were kids themselves. So you expect a kid to take care of a kid. Let the Michael Myers fanatic say something that Nancy Reagan said a long time ago. Say no to drugs. This is what happens when you get high and pick up a pen. You write movies like this. A kid is supposed to take care of another kid. Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm the Michael Myers fanatic, and whether you jabronis like it or not, I approve this message. Friday the 13th starring Betsy Palmer. You can see it, don't see it, whatever. It's your choice. I hated the original movie. It sucked. Like, the logic just wasn't there. And I have to say it one more time before I go. You cannot expect a child to take care of a child. It's redundant. And by the way, stop saying starring Betsy Palmer. She was only in it for 5 minutes. And yet she gets all the glory. Somebody was smoking weed somewhere. I don't care what anybody said. Somebody was high when they made this. You had to have been. I'm out. See ya.